Welcome back. I'm Rahul Kamal. You're watching a live and continuing coverage of the War of Thrones. The Prime Minister is performing a puja at the Somnath temple. We're tracking also the last phase of polling in eastern Uttar Pradesh. We're bringing these live images. We have a crack political panel looking very carefully at the political fallout of the terror encounter in Lucknow yesterday. Also the Prime Minister's puja. And remember, today is polling in the crucial constituency of Varanasi. The 8 seats of Varanasi, 3 urban seats, 5 rural seats. The Prime Minister's personal prestige at stake. These are live images coming in from the Somnath temple where a puja is being performed. This is the first time Prime Minister Modi has been to the Somnath temple since he took over in 2014. Remember, the moment the UP elections get over, attention is shifting to Gujarat, which is where the next big election will happen. That's an election in the Prime Minister's own den. That's also the state where Amit Shah comes from. So a lot at stake for the Prime Minister over the next few months. A lot at stake even today in Varanasi. We're discussing what may happen in the polling today. There has been a sense over the last few days, Prashant, that the BJP in Varanasi especially has been slightly on the back foot, slightly anxious. They're trying to convey a very strong, positive message, but deep in their hearts, they've been slightly worried.
I think you're right, and I think they are worried because of local ticket distribution. They took certain decisions in terms of ticket distribution, removed certain popular MLAs, particularly in Varanasi South, which is an important constituency in the Prime Minister's Lok Sabha segment constituency, and that has led to dissatisfaction. In other constituencies, we've seen rebel candidates stand up. You know, when we asked BJP leaders, why did you remove a popular MLA? The explanation that they offer is that they wanted to invest in new faces, a new generation of leaders, Brahmin leaders in particular, and it was important for Banaras to have local Brahmin faces. But that explanation is not going down well because the person who has been removed, popularly called Dada in Varanasi South, is just commands enormous respect. And I think that is something. The fact that the party has needed to bring Mr. Modi in shows both the structural dependence on the Prime Minister and that local politics still matters. All politics is also eventually local, particularly in a Vidhan Sabha constituency, and that I think is something that is worrying them.
The Prime Minister's roadshow in Varanasi, a lot of support for the Prime Minister, but the moment you talk to them, Rakesh, they'd say, "Ye theek nahi kiya iski ticket kaat ke." You know, he's a local candidate. There was another candidate who should have been given the ticket. You've given a dynast the ticket. You know, what will it be? This is what the Congress used to do. Now you're doing the same thing. Lot of murmurs of dissatisfaction. Ticket distribution in Varanasi, in Purvanchal, in fact, in all of Uttar Pradesh, raising very serious questions about the BJP strategy. You basically have had a lot of firefighting to do because you didn't give tickets to people your Karyakartas thought were the right people to be given tickets to.
But the party had to restructure itself during the election because on the old pattern you can't win the election. Party has 3 challenges in Uttar Pradesh. First, the party's base had eroded in the last two decades. So Prime Minister has restored the old structure and old base of the party. Second important thing is that Prime Minister has given a confidence to the voters that despite certain inaccuracies in the ticket distribution, there is a faith in Prime Minister, the voters' faith. They are critical on road, but they are not critical while voting. So they are voting for Narendra Modi. There is a psychology among the voters that if they are not going to vote BJP, the central government would weaken.
So I asked this question to Amit Shah. This is his response. He said that the party so far traditionally has been seen a party of the upper castes and the Banyas. He wants to restructure the BJP going forward as a party of the OBCs, especially the non-Yadav OBCs to begin with and the non-Jatav Dalits to start with. And that's the larger hope. And therefore, he said that if these guys were as good as they think they are, why were we so poor in the last assembly? Javed, let me start with you. You're essentially seeing a mega restructuring of the BJP with an eye on the future, saying just the upper caste and the Banyas are not enough to help us win elections. We need the non-Yadav OBCs, the non-Jatav Dalits to back us. If that's to happen, we have to change the people who we give tickets to.
Well, certainly this is an audacious gamble. Part of it is partly paying off. There is evidence to support from the ground that the non-Yadavs and other OBCs have gravitated. I'm not so sure if it is true about his aims of dividing the BSP vote, but certainly he's managed to rally the upper castes and also the MBCs. But the other question, and Rahul, you were there in 2014 and now you held 2 public programs. There were a lot more critical voices of ordinary people, voters from Varanasi, asking questions of the Prime Minister.
That's
you made these tall claims, how much have you delivered? Perhaps in a way the Prime Minister is a victim of his own image. He promised Kyoto.
Absolutely.
They are not even a pale shadow of Noida.
That's a very good point, and there's no going away from it. You speak to people in Varanasi, very outspoken, very in your face, giving BJP leaders a tough time in their presence, saying, Kyoto kahe the kya hua? And the people of Varanasi, because of their historical, cultural linkages, their standing in Indian society, they're not scared of the likes of some minister or some general secretary floating around. They'll ask you the tough questions on your face, Ajit.
Absolutely. Rahul, the thing is, this election is actually what I would call for the BJP a post-Mandal election. BJP is not contesting against Congress. It's contesting against these regional parties which benefited enormously from the Mandal formula. And look at the BJP today. Look at all the chief ministers of BJP, for example. Half of them are from the OBC. Look at the sort of party presidents all around. You see much more OBC faces. Even they sell the prime minister and the party president, Amit Shah, as an OBC leader. So there is this serious attempt.
Do you think, Vivek Kumar, this restructuring, the grand idea that Amit Shah has, just change what the BJP is about? It's not about a party of the upper caste and the traders. And if this happens successfully, we're already seeing some signs that it is being rolled out, it is being successful to some extent. It can potentially transform Indian politics going forward.
I have observed BJP from very close quarters also, and I have tried to analyze it also. The problem with them is that they give tickets, but they don't give representation at the functionary level. For example, there are no face. Where are the people who are mobilizing from the Dalit community in Uttar Pradesh? There is not even one face from the Dalit community who can be there in the poster. So unless and until there are formidable people who represent themselves, the self-representation becomes very important. And there is no self-representation. You look into the cabinet, there are actually 18 MPs from Uttar Pradesh. There was only one state minister from there. So I think the representation and self-representation at the highest echelons doesn't exist in BJP. Therefore, it's very difficult for identification of the
Sharad Pradhan is joining us from Lucknow. Mr. Pradhan, good morning. Welcome. We're seeing these images from Somnath. Do you think the terror encounter in your city last night will have any impact at all on what's happening in eastern Uttar Pradesh? Today, 40 seats going for polls. Will there be any ripple effect at all of this ISIS encounter?
Well, it could be some marginal impact because I don't see it. Had it been, done exclusively by the central government and central agencies and state was not involved, then one could have said that it may play out in favor of the BJP. But in this case, since it is a coordinated effort, it's team effort and number of states and NIA and the state, ultimately it's the state police which has carried out the operation. So it may not have that kind of impact. But yes, certainly, unwittingly it has brought down all the talk on Gayatri Prajapati, whom the police has not been able to arrest for so many days, whom they don't want to arrest or they have not been able to arrest. So, it takes away the focus from there where UP government's failure was being highlighted, that they are not arresting a man who is charged of rape. So, but I don't see this as the operation, which is being highly appreciated, as making any deep impact on the turnout of the vote or of the voters, or making any difference to the drift of the voters.
That's interesting.
Because,
you're saying that it's unlikely to make any substantive difference to the ultimate outcome, and that's really where things are. But in a tight election, even a minor difference, even a slight push can change things. I think that is the reality. Also, just for a moment, 7 phases, Javed. We've been at, I love elections. You love elections and political journalism as well. But 7 phases. This election's just been going on and on. I told my wife that I have to go this morning to anchor. She's again on the election's over.
This is 3 phases too long, if you know. At least 3 phases. They could have actually finished in 3, but 4 phases is at the utmost. 3 phases far too long. All the netas are tired, the workers are tired, and journalists, of course, are perpetually tired.
Journalists are tired, but this man on your screen for some reason is not tired. Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Remember, he's been campaigning just when he was crossing where we were right outside the Kashi Vidyapeeth in Varanasi. He'd been on the road for about 3.5 to 4 hours. He was wiping his forehead. He had a small hand towel in his hand, wiping his forehead. And some wisecrack standing next to me said, "Bhaiya, Banaras ki janta ne pasine chhuta de PM ke." You know. So, but that's the reality. This man
Rakesh,
has been
I hope you heard what
relentless. No, but he's been
There's a message in
relentless.
it for you.
No, I can tell you, Bhupender Yadav knackered, Piyush Goyal knackered. Hardly, they're just waiting for this to get over. They are much younger. Here's the Prime Minister. He's got so much pressure.
It's been
Look
a
at
very,
these
very
images.
tough poll.
He's just out there. Ajit?
Absolutely.
He's just relentless. This
Yeah.
man doesn't
In fact-
tire. It's almost superhuman.
Absolutely. I would completely agree. I mean, he is one prime minister who is 24/7, both doing elections today, tomorrow talking to, some international delegation. On the third day, he'll be abroad somewhere, and then back into a mandir, back in Varanasi or in Gujarat. I mean, he is
No, not
just
in
energy.
Varanasi. He's been seen rarely in Varanasi, more often elsewhere.
I think what's also interesting, Rahul, is
If
that
you
if
ask
you look at
people
prime
in
ministers
Varanasi.
in the last 25 years, Narasimha Rao had pockets of support in his state, but he was not a mass politician. Deve Gowda was not a mass politician outside Karnataka. Gujarat was not a mass politician at all. Atalji was a mass politician, but was spread his presence out. And Manmohan Singh was not a mass politician. So suddenly we have a mass politician full of energy as Prime Minister who believes every election is his to win.
Almost
and so
reflects
that's
Donald Trump
Gandhi.
is a mass politician. In the
Reflects
few
Indira
weeks he's
Gandhi
been in power, he's gone to his weekend resort 4 times already.
That's-
And here is this man. You can dismiss this, but you can't take away the fact that this is almost superhuman, Javed, in terms of the energy. And I can tell you, I was speaking to a very senior BJP leader whom I shan't name. I said, so I assume you have a party. When our campaign got over, when our final show got over, I invited the team. We had a dinner on the banks of the Ganga. We just kind of exchanged notes. I would have assumed that the Prime Minister would do something similar. He called his officials from the PMO after the whole day got over, after he'd been on the road, sweating profusely, and started looking at files which he would have otherwise had to clear in Delhi. That's just, you're wondering, so when does this guy take a break?
But he is a very different kind. He is a 24/7 politician, and even if you don't have to be a fan of his to admit, the fact is that he's brought a great amount of energy and dynamism.
And a lot
to
of this-
And if you talk to people in Varanasi, perhaps they may have another view that yes, he has spent a lot of time, like Mr. Jha was saying, he's all over the place. They would have been happier if he had spent a bit more time in
A lot
Varanasi.
of this, Rakesh, has to do with the RSS. Now, when we traveled, for example, with Shivraj Singh Chauhan in Madhya Pradesh, the day started at 4:30 in the morning. I was with him. He did 9 sabhas. He did a roadshow in Indore finally. He came back. The flight back from Indore to Bhopal was at some 12:30 at night. I went off to sleep sitting in front of him on the same plane. I just passed out. He was clearing files. When we woke out, he was still clearing files. He said, the next morning as we were departing, he said, the day starts at 4:30 again.
But Rahul,
This is-
but let me just interrupt. He's not the only one who does it.
No, I agree, I agree.
Perhaps amongst the present crop he's the only one. But I've seen Rajiv Gandhi do it. I saw VP Singh do it. And in those days, they used to travel by car. And the only luxury was that you traveled in an air-conditioned ambassador or
No,
a
but tell me
contestant.
which Congress leader today does anything remotely similar? Any one
He
Congress
is 20 years younger.
He stands out in
20 years
terms of
younger.
work ethic precisely because his principal opponent Rahul Gandhi does not have much work ethic to show
right.
and takes fortnight-long vacations when the country is reeling under the impact of
No, you
demonetization.
just see the
and
track
EP
record of Narendra
elections.
Modi as a chief minister. During Gujarat chief minister, he never visited for some kind of relaxation and like that. Rahul Gandhi is visiting the foreign country for 50 days, 60 days. So he is uncomparable in that regard. Second thing is most important is that it is the RSS training, and that is reflecting that as a prime minister, as a Pracharak prime minister, completely dedicated to the nation. So the perception you are for the RSS, the reality you are seeing in the prime minister, that is the vast difference between the two. So you have to accept that. You are right that Shivraj Singh Chauhan is doing same thing. Or the new generation RSS Swayamsevaks who are in the helms of the
Vivek
power.
Kumar, would you agree? A lot of this has to do with the regimentation that the RSS brings in, where you live this life from 4:30 till late into the night, every day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, which for any normal human being, this simply doesn't make any sense.
Well, Rahul, actually, you are all mesmerized by his hard work. We have seen also Manavar Kashiram. He used to be like this. That's what.
Okay,
if I
just
can
one second.
compare-
We're seeing images of Murli Manohar Joshi. I will allow you to continue. Murli Manohar Joshi used to be the MP from Varanasi. He's come out to vote. Yes, go on. We're showing you these live images.
So Manohar Kashinam used to, work like this, I think, and more 24/7 and beyond. And he did not have any power structure
But Mayawati
at his
doesn't work like
disposal.
this.
No, I think that's why the party is like that. I think she gets up at 4 o'clock and
No, but
then
she's
she
in her
writes.
home. She's in her home for the longest time. She hardly steps out.
Because of the safety reasons or security reasons.
Paranoia.
Otherwise, she has to take
Jet
everything.
plus security, sir. She had Jet
That's
plus
what.
Rahul, one minute. If I can.
Okay, I think
with your
Murli Manohar
permission-
Joshi is speaking. Let's just listen to what he said. Okay, he's not saying very much. Murli Manohar Joshi.
Rahul, what is significant is that Murli Manohar Joshi has turned up to vote, and he was absent during the 3 weeks of
Very
the campaign. He was not seen or heard of. Perhaps my friend Rakesh Sinha will have something to say.
No, he used to be the MP from
Yes,
Varanasi.
MP from that,
He
that's
vacated his seat for the Prime Minister. This is one of the big problems with this current crop.
I think it is the question of who are in demands among the voters. It is not the age factor is also important. Murli Manohar Joshi is not going
to voting to consumer culture. What is demanded and what is not demanded.
Rahul, one thing I want to comment that you earlier raised the question of structuring of the party. The Govindacharji has started the social engineering the party. He started from the Uttar Pradesh.
No. Answer this bit about Murli Manohar Joshi. Don't take us into it.
No, but this is one of the unfortunate things. If you've got a stalwart like Murli Manohar Joshi, surely you can set up some sabhas for him, and he can go and campaign.
That is up to the party who will go for campaign, who will not go for the campaign. It is
Where
not
Rakesh Sinha agrees, he backs very strongly. Where he disagrees, he says that's up to the party. He deflects very smartly. That's a good strategy, Rakesh. Good strategy.
Javed, you and me can't decide who will campaign. It is the party leadership which will decide.
I am just asking you a simple question. Is it your case that Mr. Advani and Mr. Murli Manohar Joshi are not needed, that they don't draw votes anywhere?
They are big leaders. They are guiding the party.
Guiding the party and not even seen in the campaign.
This is the only party which is not based on one individual, one family.
Really?
I like that.
Yes,
Really?
I think
Dr.
Time out, guys. 1 second. One at a time, sir. Everyone can be heard. I think that is really
I think
important.
Dr. Joshi also represents an interesting case study because he was the party's tallest Brahman face. Now, in the process of social expansion and as BJP tries to incorporate backwards, is its core vote staying with the BJP is a question that we have to judge in this election. My sense is
BJP's calculation is very simple.
that the core vote has nowhere else to go.
Where will it go?
So it will stay with us.
It may not turn out. It may not go anywhere else.
That's the risk.
But the biggest problem is look at the falling turnout. And the upper castes have always had lowest turnout among all other communities. In fact, even the CSDS study of
the risk.
the elections in this...
That's the risk. You take them for granted, they don't show up.
Rahul, they also,
I need to take a break.
They go to power also. So if you see, the Brahmin have shifted from Congress to BSP, and they can go to BJP. So they have been shifting. It's not that they are a stationary voter. So if you are not catering to their needs, if you are not catering to their demands,
and the
they can
Brahmins
shift.
in UP, unlike say in Bihar, are a very substantial number. They've ruled
10%,
Uttar Pradesh for the vast
My
majority
sense
of
is
its
they are
years.
going to be with the party, but there is resentment.
I need to take a quick break. We will focus on the last phase of elections in Varanasi, around Varanasi in the Purvanchal area. We're looking very carefully at the IS module being busted in Lucknow and in Madhya Pradesh. We're also tracking the Prime Minister's visit to Somnath. So there's a lot happening this morning, and we're returning on the other side with these messages. Stay with us.